that used to live here that was a big P1. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. It turns out it was the guy that I was locked in on the entire concert, as I told you guys. Their multi-instrumentalist who was just freaking amazing. And he joins us now. Ladies and gentlemen, from Turnpike Troubadours, it is Hank Early. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, Corby?
How we doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. Appreciate the kind words there.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. You know, as I've told you, I hadn't seen you guys before. I'd seen the Avett Brothers a bunch, and to see the crowd literally chanting every single word to every single song for, a couple hours straight was super impressive. And, you guys have been on this run where you're playing these huge arenas, and that's the one thing that really struck me is, y'all hadn't made a record in a long time, and you came out of the chute playing these giant arenas. What were you expecting coming out of your hiatus into this? Because y'all were shot out of a cannon.
Yeah, it's been wild, man. I mean, I had a feeling it was going to be pretty intense because, just lurking on social media and this and that, and there's so many people that just make these let's end COVID and bring Turnpike back memes and all these just so much enthusiasm about it. And when we did finally start to announce it, the response was huge. And yeah, after touring last year, the ticket sales just led our management team to just decide, hey, let's just start booking arenas. And yeah, it's wild, man.
So how long have you been in the band? Have you seen this entire trajectory, or did you come on kind of midstream?
I started in 2015, so I'd definitely call that midstream. The band was started probably 10-ish years before that, something like that. They were hitting it pretty good. They really, when they called me, they were kind of at the top of the game in the regional red dirt country Texas music scene. So yeah, I mean, I already jumped on board a serious workhorse, but then it's obviously grown since 2015.
Yeah, okay, so tell the story of how you got in it, because I know one of the dudes got injured in the band and you had a connection with somebody else in the band, and it's a pretty wild story of right place, right time. Yeah,
completely. I mean, I remember I was sitting in Fort Worth at a cigar lounge downtown, and I got a phone call from Gabe, the drummer, basically saying, hey, Ryan slipped while he was fishing, fell off the bank and hurt his wrist. He can't play for a while. We don't know how long. We got this tour coming out. And I was on a short list of guys that could do lead guitar and pedal steel duties, which is kind of what Ryan was doing at that time. So they called me, and I knew Gabe through Denton connections. Gabe and I both lived in Denton for a long time, and we didn't hang back then, but we knew each other, and he ran sound for different bands I was playing in, and so yeah, he threw my name in the hat, and yeah, it just worked out.
So how many instruments do you play? Because did I count 4 the other night that you were perfectly suited for and didn't skip a beat on any of them, and it looks super casual even though it looks impossible?
Sometimes it feels impossible. I did 4 on stage. Yeah, that's right. Guitar and piano were my first instruments. I kind of leaned into the multi-instrumentalist thing years ago just because it's one of those things you can just it's finding a gig can be hard when you just play guitar, Mm-hmm. There's a lot of dudes playing guitar. So yeah, just being able to diversify a little bit just kind of helped me. That's why I started playing the pedal steel, which is really my main instrument now. I just picked it up because I was like, hey, there's a bunch of country bands touring around with no pedal steel player, and it's all over their records. So let's learn that thing.
So what does that mean, though, in terms of how many instruments does a multi-instrumentalist, whatever the term you use there for dumb music guy, What's the full number? I remember once being fascinated with Prince because I don't know, he had mastered like 20 instruments or something crazy like that. I couldn't even conceive what that meant. But what
Hank
is
the Prince of Turnpike.
that's the vibe I was getting, and I just wanted to dig a little deeper there.
That's actually what they call me. I have messed around on a lot of instruments. I'm kind of, I hold myself to a high standard, so I don't like to say that I can play all these instruments that I don't feel like I have this like mastery of, accordion, I learned on the road. The band asked me if I could play accordion. I was like, give me a few weeks, and I just brought one out on the road. And because I could play piano, it kind of translated a little. I just had to get the basic movement down, But yeah, I do like mandolin and guitar and bass and piano. I don't. Yeah, it's hard for me to. I do a lot of stuff half-assed, basically.
Do you consider your genre of music to be country music, or like Corby, are you too embarrassed and you call it Americana?
I'm actually more embarrassed to call it Americana, to be honest with you. We played the Americana Fest a few years back, and we stuck out like a sore thumb, man. We did not fit in with those like sleepy shoegazy country folk, Like our stuff is definitely like, we're not embarrassed to call it country. Obviously, it doesn't sound like mainstream country radio, and that's okay. Country's kind of a big tent term, as I'm sure y'all talked about.
Yeah, it is. It's. I love it. Like, and I come from a very pure place in that I first heard you guys right at the outset of the pandemic. And by the way, this is Hank Early from Turnpike Troubadours, who has local ties here, and we'll get to that here in a second.
Corby's new favorite band.
Yeah, my new favorite band. And I was listening to a lot of Jason Isbell, and you guys came on to my radar just because I listened to a lot of Jason, as have a lot of acts that I've kind of fallen in love with here over the last 5-10 years, thanks to Jason. He's like the, I don't know if he's the lightning rod or whatever, but I heard you guys and I thought, wow, this is really cool. This is right up my alley. I listened to a lot of Wilco and Sunvolt back in the 90s, old 97s, who I know you guys have played with before. And to me, it just kind of all fit in the same umbrella. And so it was weird to me that you guys were playing a show with the Avett Brothers, who I'd seen a handful of times, but they don't fit that mold. And I like what you guys did, though. I like the fact that you're going out with bands that don't necessarily have to be the exact same as you guys.
Yeah, I love that lineup, and I haven't heard you mention them yet. But the first band, the
Wood Brothers, yes,
they're seriously one of my favorite bands, and yeah, they don't fit in. We're there's not much of a common thread there, other than it just being really like honest music that's being made like very real and live on stage. There's obviously there's like acoustic instruments on stage, but the similarities, I guess it's a little bit cross genre, which I love. We don't always get to do that. We've always wanted to do more of that, and it just sometimes it doesn't work out. But like, we're doing 3 days in Boston here coming up for St. Patty's Day. We're doing 3 days opening with Dropkick Murphys.
Wow,
coming up here in March. And we're super stoked about that.
Yeah, how cool is that? That's perfect. I mean, like, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but it makes all the sense in the world. And I know Evan has a bit of a relationship with him.
Right. Yeah, and I think early on, like one of the common influences for Evan and RC back in the day, I've heard them both talk about Dropkick. That kind of like punk rock aesthetic that they brought to like traditional music, traditional Irish music, obviously, but like there was like a commonality there where we wanted to do that with bluegrass and country.
So you're in Oklahoma now, you're in Tahlequah, but you were here for a long, long time, and the ticket was a big part of your world when you were here, correct?
Yeah, I definitely drove around listening all the time, for sure. But I was a bad radio and hardline guy. Never up early enough for the musers. You know how I get. But Bob. Listen to you a ton, Corby, all the time.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. Did you think when Evan was going through all of his problems, was there a time that you guys thought, are we ever going to play again? Or did you know that he would come out on the other side all good? It had to be a really dicey time.
It was a dicey time, man. Yeah, I mean, anytime someone's going through struggles like that, you really have no idea how it's gonna go. I mean, the stuff he went through, that's one of those things that's kind of a make or break a person. And I'm really happy that he was able to get through all that the way that he has. And, I think it's had a positive impact on the whole outfit. I mean, he bringing his sobriety out on the road has kind of got us all thinking and acting a little differently. And I think it's a really healthy change.
How do you handle that? Like, how do you handle, from the band perspective, with when a guy has gone through something like that, whether he's the lead singer, main songwriter, founder, whatever it is, if somebody's had, really big issues with sobriety, do you guys, are you having, I didn't see it on stage the other night, are you all having beers on stage? Do you stay away from that completely? How do you handle that?
It's been something we've just sort of felt out as we've gone along. I think right away, I mean, it was very like zero tolerance, keep everything, keep it all like dry backstage and just being very, very considerate of trying not to, cause the brother to stumble, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as time's gone on, he's very comfortable where he's at. He's told us over and over again, you guys do what you want to do. It doesn't bother me. And so we're not drinking on stage. If you came backstage, it's not like it used to be. There's not handles of whiskey and beer all over the place. There's nothing backstage that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Guys will play the show. And then, if anybody wants to have some drinks, we go have some drinks, but it's definitely changed the culture and I'm a big fan, honestly.
Yeah, real quickly, guys, need to jump in on a weather update. There's a tornado warning now in Dallas County until 7 o'clock. So if you're out there, seek shelter.
Yeah. Hank, you're quite familiar with those in Oklahoma, I know.
Yeah, I would think.
Yeah, we'll be getting that in a few hours.
Yeah, the band is going all the way up across the red. So.
Yeah.
So where is HQ for the band? I guess I don't know my Oklahoma geography, but it's an Oklahoma band, yes?
Yes. So when I moved up here, this was kind of the starting point for all our trips because our bus driver lived here, our bass and fiddle player lived here. So I moved here just to be as close as possible to the tour bus. So when it was time to get on the road, I'd just drive across town. Tahlequah is, it's east of Tulsa, about an hour. So way up in the northeast corner of Oklahoma, pretty close to the Arkansas border. They call it green country. It's beautiful up here. I love it. It's the capital of the Cherokee Nation also, which is really interesting. So huge Cherokee population. It's about 50-50 license plates when you go out somewhere in Tahlequah, whether it's an Oklahoma license plate or a Cherokee Nation license plate.
It's golden.
Yeah. So George Dunham, speaking of the Musers, he sent me a text and he says, ask him if Gabe the drummer is a listener to The Ticket as well.
I have not heard Gabe mention listening to The Ticket. Gabe is one of those guys that you try to talk sports with and he'll just leave the room. So not probably not. Yeah.
Oh, dude. Well, look, congratulations on everything. It's it's an awesome gig, and you are a tremendous player of whatever instrument you pick up. It was really, really cool getting to watch you up close the other night, and hope to do it again here in the near future.
Man, thanks so much. If you ever want to come out, any of you guys, holler at me.
Will do.
That's awesome. Thanks, man.
Hank,
you hardly had to use your knee pads, Hank. It was all Corby.
I know. I was the one that was making him happy. All right, dude. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys.
We'll see you. There he goes, Hank Early. the pedal steel player and multi-instrumentalist for Turnpike Troubadours.
Look at that.
That's cool.
I don't even like country music, but the pedal steel is a sexy instrument.
He's so good.
It's amazing.
Like, he is... My wife, like, we're sitting there watching, and, she's not a country fan, but she's like, that guy is unbelievable. I'm like, yeah, he really is. That's Hank. So there you go. Turnpike. Our new friends, the Turnpike Troubadours.
How about that?
Sturm Center is next.
Don't be the last guy.